Narcissists are very good at creating an imaginary version of themselves, which isn't real. And they're really good at making you fall in love with that imaginary person which they've created. When you when you're out there talking to people, maybe interested in seeking out someone who's suitable to be a long-term partner for you, you want to see, when you meet people and you talk to them, you get to know them, you want to see if you're compatible with a person, if you share enough similarities and values in the areas that matters most for a long-term relationship. When you meet a narcissist, they will study you to know what you want in a long-term partner. They will try to find out what are the traits, what are the attributes, what are the long-term plans that you want. They will try to find out whatever's important to you. And the narcissist will do their best to be a representation of those things. So in the early stages of getting to know a narcissist, you know, they can be quite charming, be very flattering. They'll give you lots of attention, but they don't give too much away about themselves until they know enough about you to know what you're really looking for. The moment they know what you're really looking for is when they start selling you the idea that they can be all that they are all those things. Maybe if you're looking to have children in a few years, they'll pretend they want the same thing. Maybe if you're a very active, outdoorsy type person, they'll talk about how they love, trekking in the hillsides, walking outdoors, going swimming. They'll pretend to be a perfect match to that. When it comes to traits like, being attentive and caring, if the narcissist knows that you want somebody who will pay attention to you, they'll make you believe that they're the most attentive person out there, that they're very caring and nurturing. They will try to tick all the boxes that are important to you, and they'll work hard to make you believe that those aspects about them are real, so that you're falling in love with an imaginary version of the narcissist, a version that doesn't exist otherwise than in your imagination. Because what they're doing is they're playing your own imagination against you. They combine a few different things, like future faking. They'll pretend they want to do things in the future that you want. So almost like you're already planning things in your mind together with them in the future. They'll be applying intense mirroring, where they're mirroring your interests and basically showing themselves to be a very similar person to you in so many ways, when it comes to personality and attributes and traits. And in addition to the future faking and mirroring, they'll create such an intense level of relatability between the two of you that sometimes you'll feel like this is the missing component of your life that you've been missing, like they are your soulmate. You almost see them as an extension of you. They try to level with you in that way. Once you've created this, once the narcissist has successfully caused you to create an imaginary version of them in your head that you like, and you believe that version of them is real, it's very difficult for you to let go of that. It's very difficult for you to walk away from that, because you've manufactured in your mind the perfect person for you, and you think that perfect person for you is the narcissist because they've made you believe that. When the narcissist starts picking up on the fact that you're hooked on the imaginary version of them, that's where they have you, and that's where they can basically do with you whatever they want. Because once they know you've fallen for the imaginary version of them, they'll know that you'll fight to keep that you don't want to lose it. And very likely, you're already bonded to that imaginary person. You don't know how to let go of it anymore, because for you, life before that imaginary person existed just wasn't very good. And now all of a sudden it feels good. And you don't want to go back to your previous life that didn't feel very good. You know, the thought of going back to the previous times terrifies you. And the narcissist knows that. So once the narcissist knows that they've caused you to fall in love with an imaginary version of themselves, then they can start to devalue you. They can start to use and abuse you. They can start to really use you as an object of their projection. Because narcissists need somebody who will stick around despite them projecting all their negativity onto. You know, they complain a lot. They'll say things to put you down. They'll ask you to do favor after favor for them and not be grateful for it. They'll play against your weaknesses and vulnerabilities. A whole array of things that they do, which is the narcissistic projection. It's causing you to feel bad to kind of regulate their self-esteem and regulate their emotions. They regulate themselves by putting you down. But they can only really heavily project on you. They can only really heavily use and abuse you the way they want if they know you'll stick around despite that. And the way they cause you to stick around is really by, in the early days, they create an imaginary version of themselves, which you believed, and at some level you still believe is real. And you don't want to walk away from that. Even though the evidence suggests that maybe that imaginary person isn't really there anymore, the narcissist will occasionally throw good deeds, good behaviors. They'll occasionally show glimpses of a good self, a good narcissist, which matches up with that imaginary version to kind of keep that imaginary version of them alive. So you keep trying to tell yourself, no, the narcissist is a good person. They are my soulmate. I just have to work a little bit harder to get that goodness out of them. And that's what they want. Over time, they want to give you just very, very, very small doses of the good stuff, heavy doses of the bad stuff. And because you're bonded to who you want them to be, you don't want to walk away from it. And you find yourself hoping for a long time to come that you can get them to change, that you can get the former version of the narcissist back, which you never will get back. But it can take a long time for you to come to that realization. So that's why narcissists work really hard to create the perfect imaginary version of themselves to you at the beginning. So you hook onto that person, you attach yourself, you get bonded to that person, and then later, because the narcissist knows that you don't want to lose that person, they can do almost anything they want with you, and usually for a very long time before you come to the realization of what you're dealing with.